All right, guys, what is happening? Hey now, happy Saturday. Very dark and cloudy here in New York, so hopefully this will brighten my day. Hopefully this will brighten your day. My review of Iron Man Volume 20 in the Hands of Evil, which actually pertains to the In the Hands of the Mandarin. Yes, we are back with the Mandarin. Once again, just when you thought he was dead. The Mandarin is like fucking herpes. I realize it now. He is like Iron Man's herpes. Mandarin, you can't get away from him. He doesn't go away. He just fucking infects and just burns you and just what. I've never had herpes, so I don't know what the symptoms are, but I can imagine that's what it's like. Just the Mandarin is Tony Stark's herpes. Ew. Anyway. I don't know where I'm going with this. Anyway, guys, yes. So the title itself, In the Hands of Evil, pertains to the Mandarin. The Mandarin being that evil, and the storyline itself is called, well, the prologue, if you will. Marvel Comics presents 169 and 170 is the In the Hands of the Mandarin storyline, and then the bulk of, well, not the bulk, but it's not really the bulk. But it feels like the bulk. It feels like half of this book was nothing but the Mandarin. It's a 6-part storyline which goes into Force Works 6 and 7, War Machine 9 and 10, and Iron Man 311 and 312. The 6-part The Hands of the Mandarin. So there's In the Hands of the Mandarin, which is the prologue, and then just The Hands of the Mandarin. Very confusing, I know, but it all ties in together. There was also tie-in issues from 169 to 172 of Marvel Comics Presents. It was actually pretty interesting because while the big main storyline is in those 6 issues, like I said, the tie-ins figure into the prologue of how the Mandarin comes back. Because the Mandarin, now I'm going to put this down just so you guys know I'm reading this. Volume 20. The Mandarin has come back since he lost his hands in 275 of Iron Man. He now has dragon claws, and he still has the rings. Like, it's crazy. He now has like these gnarly green hands. I'll show you guys in a second, but he's got like these gnarly dragon scaly hands with these long ass fingernails. I wonder how he picks his nose, or might poke his eye out. I don't know. It's pretty nasty. His nails are like this, and they're like sharp, and he's got the rings. Like, I thought he lost the rings, but apparently he got them back somehow. So the orb, known as the Heart of Darkness, nothing to do with the Daredevil storyline. That Heart of Darkness has nothing to do with that. This orb, this sphere called Heart of Darkness, talks to the Mandarin, gets him back in touch with himself, gets him back in his groove, has his powers back, and has the rings, has these green scaly hands or claws, and suddenly, he's like, okay, I'm gonna like wreak havoc on everybody. And of course, Iron Man, Force Works, War Machine, everybody's involved in this multi-crossover 6-part storyline. And basically what he wants to do, I'm not really quite sure the hows and the whys. I'm just looking at something there. The hows and the whys as far as why he's doing this. Like, what's the purpose? Basically, he is using this anti-technology field to thrust the planet Earth back to the era or the age of the Great Khan, which is basically ancient China, when Genghis Khan ruled half the world, and the Mandarin sees himself as Genghis Khan. He claims to be the descendant of Genghis Khan. Okay. And now he wants to transform Earth back to the way it was, to a simpler time where I guess he wants to control and rule the world. That's the basic plot of what the Mandarin wants. That's what he determines himself to do and to be the Great Khan, and that's that. So of course we have Iron Man, who is part of Force Works. Force Works, for those of you who don't know, was the Avengers West Coast when the Avengers West Coast dissolved after issue 101. I think it was like January of 94, according to the indicia date. Mockingbird got killed. Hawkeye went apeshit and whatever, and then they just disbanded. But Scarlet Witch Spider-Woman, U.S. Agent, and they got this new guy, Sentry, who I didn't really care for. They got some dude named Recorder, like a computer named Recorder. They've got something called a Chaos Computer, and this space. They call it a hex craft called Pegasus. It's just, I don't know. I was just very turned off by ForceWorks. I don't like this direction. Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning, who were the last writers on Avengers West Coast, were the writers of ForceWorks. I don't know. It just left me very uninterested. U.S. Agent doesn't even have his shield anymore. He's just a punk with a psionic shield. It doesn't feel familiar. Like, who the fuck? Scarlet Witch is now the leader, and she doesn't feel right. It's just, And of course, the series canceled in 1996 after 2 years, 22 issues. I don't even know if they'll make a ForceWorks series after Avengers West Coast. Maybe they will. They could fit one volume of 22 issues if they really try, with no crossovers or any annuals. They could definitely do that, but I'm not really interested in ForceWorks. Anyway, so ForceWorks, Iron Man, War Machine is not part of the team anymore. He was part of the Avengers West Coast, but now Rhodey is now doing his own thing with World Watch. That's his new company. And he and Tony have it starts off with War Machine number 8 and Iron Man number 310. It's a 2-part crossover where Rhodey and Tony don't see eye to eye. Tony's upset with how Rhodey's been using the War Machine armor, which is by extension an Iron Man armor. It's a representation of him. Rhodey doesn't want to give back the machine, so Tony and Rhodey have a fight. And after that's cleared up, then we get thrown into the hands of the Mandarin storyline. Like I said, 6 and 7 of ForceWorks, 9 and 10 of War Machine, and 311 to 312 of Iron Man. It's just back and forth between the Mandarin and his team of minions, his Avengers, if you will. I know I do a lot of air quotes, right? Okay. The Mandarin has his own set of Avengers called the Avatars, which make up literally like 10 different characters, like 8 to 10 different characters, and they're thrown in every so often. There's Deluge, there's Foundry, there's Butterfly, there's Old Woman, there's Quake, there's Turmoil. There's a lot, and for better or worse, they're pretty cool. They're basically made up of Chinese deities with elemental powers and whatnot. Not bad for a bunch of Mandarin Avengers. They're pretty cool, but they're called Avatars. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. The story was okay. It seemed to go back and forth rather aimlessly. Like it could have ended after 3 issues, but they decided to make it 6 issues. Tony finally beats the Mandarin by infecting him with a techno-organic virus, which rapidly ages him. It speeds up his metabolism, and he ages into dust. And I'm going to do it, guys. Dies. More air quotes. But we all know the Mandarin's not dead. He can't die because the Mandarin, he's the Mandarin. I do want to show you guys the claws. They're pretty fat looking. Oh my God, look at this. So now the Mandarin has like these green scaly dragon claws with the rings. He's got huge ass fingernails, which I'm sure is a bitch when he has to pick his nose. It's just fucking, it's cool, but it's also fucking gross and nasty. I guess it beats having stumps, right? But yeah, I do like the artwork. By the way, the artwork for the bulk of the Iron Man stories, the pencils are now by Tom Morgan, no longer Kevin Hopgood. Len Kaminski still writes all of the Iron Man stories. He also co-writes with Scott Benson the War Machine stories, and then Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning do the ForceWorks stories. So it's that group of guys. You got Tom Morgan. You got a lot of guys here. Gabriel Gecko, Dave Taylor, Jeff Senior. I don't know who the fuck those guys are, but they do a lot of the stories here and there. I read issues 313 through 318 today, and all that other stuff yesterday. Pretty much, I read all of the Hands of the Mandarin storyline yesterday, and just finished off the rest of the book. 313 has a nice story where Tony, apparently in issue 308 and 309, Tony had another relapse with alcohol, which we don't see. I didn't see it because volume 19 hasn't been released, but apparently he's had a third relapse with alcohol. But he managed to kick it rather quickly for this storyline with the Mandarin. And then 313 just has him going to an Alcoholics Anonymous group, and it's New Year's Eve, and he just gives this very pretty speech about how how alcohol nearly destroyed him, how he beat it, how he fell back in and fell off the wagon, how he beat it again. So that was a pretty good. So that's 313. Hold on, I can't see jack shit, guys. These glasses, they take away my sexy, but let me just show you. Nope, it's just all Hands of the Mandarin. The Marvel Comics Presents issues tie into what's going on with the Mandarin decides to attack Hong Kong of all places, and that's where he wants to start the anti-tech field to disrupt and take away Earth's magnetic pole or whatever. It's kind of dumb. Like he wants to throw the world back into ancient China. Like what? But he looks so badass. I do like the Mandarin. I still did that. The Mandarin voice. Yeah, it shall stand for 1,000 times 1,000 years. Yeah. Cathay, behold our king. Behold your king, the last emperor of the earth. Yeah. And be the greatest, wisest kingdom in the history of man. I don't give a fuck. He is badass looking though. This is Scarlet Witch, who is cool, but she's really not like Wanda. And this is Sentry, by the way. This is an alien dude who has this staff called Parallax, and Mandarin takes that staff in order to magnify his own power, in order to throw the world back into the age of China, the age of the Khan, basically. Oh yeah, I think of Khan from King of the Hill. Yeah, what you doing here? I'm the Mandarin Iron Man. Like that. It's fun, but I guess it can be annoying. I don't know. There's Spider-Woman. Spider-Woman who looks... This is such a horrible rendition of her mask. I don't know if this was a new mask, but I hate it. Julia Carpenter. U.S. Agent doesn't look anything like U.S. Agent. He looks like a big dope. That's him right there. Like, they really fucked up the team. ForceWorks, Avengers West Coast, whatever. But yeah, he's got this thing... Mandarin. Now, here's what I don't like. Mandarin gets all super powerful, right? But then in the next issue, in the giant-sized 48-page Iron Man 312, he reverts back. He shows all this power, but then he reverts, he's all powerful and whatever, and then he reverts back to being a schmuck. But he has Parallax with him, and then Tony's like, okay, you know what? Let's just infect him with the techno-organic virus that fucked with me when he had that microchip ordeal, and somehow it works and it defeats Mandarin. It's I don't know, but I do love the artwork by Tom Morgan. Like it, love it. Ooh, look at that. Mandarin. Hey, look at me! I'm all yarrow at the yarrow croc. God's merely a dream. Oh, now a warning. I have carried too wrong. 2 things yet elude me: complete mastery of the staff Parallax, and the indisputable distraction of Iron Man. That's what he wants to do. So, and then, it ages his ass. He becomes like Lopan from Big Trouble in Little China. He's like, look, he literally is like, oh no, look at me, the Mandarin. I'm now old. And then the Heart of Darkness orb just takes off. It gets destroyed, and the end. That's that. And, and then he goes to Russia. Later on, he goes to Russia, fights Titanium Man yet again. Crimson Dynamo helps him out with Black Widow because they're like the only Russian people in the Marvel Universe besides Colossus that can help Iron Man. That was actually a pretty good story. That was towards the end. That was like 3:15, 16, and 17. 317 was a double-sized issue, which didn't need to be double-sized. And then 318, he fights his former teacher, his mentor from college, who becomes this hot molten metal monstrosity called Slag. And it's funny because his last name was like, I think it was supposed to be Slag, but I pronounced it as Slate. It was odd. Yeah, fucking neighbors. My fucking douchebag here is slamming his door. Okay, that's not relevant to Iron Man. So let me move on. And actually, I'm done. That's pretty much it, guys. I mean, I do like the stories. Believe it or not, Len Kaminski is actually a pretty good writer, and for a time when Iron Man was on its deathbed, so to speak, because we're only like 2 volumes away. We have volume 21, which is The Crossing, and 22, which is Age of Innocence. Let me get this one out. This is the next one, by the way. The Crossing, which we're going to be reading. I'll be reading Avengers: The Crossing. What is it? 319 to 324 or 5? Hold on. I should have had this already prepared, guys. 314 to 324, 390 to 394 of Avengers The Crossing, Force Works 16 to 20, and War Machine 20 to 22, 1995 to 1996. Right, guys? The Crossing. This is the next book. I like it. Oh, and I also forgot to mention the Iron Man Force Works Collector's Previews also in this. Captain America had that in the last 2 volumes, 21 and 22. And this also has that in this. I kind of skipped it. It's just behind the scenes stuff, interviews, stuff that was happening back then when, it's just a bunch of interviews with the creators. I mean, go for them. I'm not really into that. I just want to read stories and comic books. There was a flip book in issue 317, which was called Brothers in Arms, which had War Machine, Hawkeye, and U.S. Agent. Didn't care for it because it was part 3 and they neglected to include part 1 and 2. So I was like, who cares? And that's it, guys. We're coming to the end of Iron Man's run. But yeah. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Like, subscribe, or don't if you don't want to. But keep reading these epics, guys. I read them so you don't have to, but I do encourage you to read them because they're fucking awesome. This is the next one, guys. Volume 21, The Crossing. And we're nearing the end, guys. We're approaching the Onslaught event. So let me know what you guys think, and I hope you're reading this one. This one came out recently, too. So check it out, guys. All right. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.